Honestly, I'm feeling a little bit tired today. Kind of lacking energy. But that's still a different feeling than I would have right before I would go to my corporate job. Because before my corporate job, I would constantly have what is often described as the Sunday scaries. That feeling of dread right before you're about to go to work. Or even worse, that feeling of dread on a Sunday night before you have a full week of work coming up starting the next day on Monday. Because there's a difference between just being a little bit sleepy and absolutely dreading and just getting a sick feeling in your stomach, in the pit of your stomach, right before you're about to work. Because it's bad enough that you have to worry about your job Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday, especially if you have a deployment that weekend. But on top of that, you might also have to worry about your job starting Sunday. So if you're actively thinking about your job Monday through Friday, and Sunday afternoon, maybe you're looking through some emails, maybe you're preparing for, unfortunately, maybe a Monday morning meeting, that really leaves you with one day a week to actually enjoy your life. And then that one day might be filled with doing errands. I know I would have to go grocery shopping then, if you have to get your car worked on, if you have to pay any bills, if you have to do any other kind of housekeeping, any other kind of life-related tasks. Saturday's really your day to do that. So you take Saturday off the list. You might have Sunday morning to really enjoy your life, to really relax. And that's just not enough for a human being. We were not meant to work this dang hard. Now, I don't know if you guys are Christian or not, but as a Christian, one of the things that we're supposed to do is take a Sabbath, take a day of rest. And this modern work culture doesn't even give you a full day of rest if you have a similar work schedule and life schedule to what I described just now. When you're actively in the middle of something, it's really hard to assess it, really hard to put into words what's going on. But if you've been laid off, you have some time to really think about your thoughts, your feelings. And after I got laid off, I had the ability to really sit back and think about the jobs that I've had. And the reality is, I've hated most of them. Now, hate's a strong word, but strongly dislike most of them. But that doesn't make as good of a YouTube title. And why is that? Because as I'm out here now, you might not view it as a business, but I view YouTube as a business, especially if you create 5 videos a week. I mean, right now we're not at the point where we're making enough money to pay all my bills, but a few hundred, not too bad, enough to at least not have to completely dive into my savings each and every month, which is a step in the right direction. And it's a lot more money than I'd make just applying to jobs all day and creating new Workday accounts every job application. One of life's greatest gifts is perspective. And after I got laid off at the end of 2022, I had a lot of perspective, because what we always talked about as people who worked in an office was that meetings could be emails, and that if I had to drive into work to talk to my coworkers in other countries, to talk to the team in other countries, then why did I have to drive into work in the first place? So after a 9-10 month contract of a remote job, making good money, working with a team of people from all over the place, it really gave the perspective and the clarity that, yeah, we should be able to do this remotely. And now in 2024, remote jobs are all but gone. I understand that companies have a big investment in the real estate property. They can't just let these big offices just go to waste. They need butts in the seat, and I think that they need some kind of capacity. I don't know the exact numbers, but let me know if you do. But I think they have to have some kind of capacity used, or something of that nature in order to get like the proper tax write-offs from the government. So it makes sense to me. Also, I gotta be honest and say that people were obviously taking advantage of the system. Instead of just working your level best and as hard as you possibly can to do your job and do it to the best of your capabilities, people were having 2 or 3 jobs. Instead of just being unemployed or underemployed, they were overemployed. And that is not what the system was meant to do. I didn't do it, and maybe I should have, because I would have more money stored up right now, but I never felt like that was the right thing to do. I just wanted to be able to work remotely from home. And why did I want to work remotely? Not just because I could sit in my pajamas. I mean, I always had my camera on, so I was dressed up like I would be in the office. I think it's weird to take a conference call in your underwear, so I never did that. But apparently, talking to you guys and reading other stories, I was an outlier and not the norm. So people, I guess, would have their cameras off. They would maybe really take all their meetings in their boxers or at least in their pajamas. And they would have 2 or 3 jobs and not give their 100% best effort to any of the 3. But I didn't want to just work remotely so that I could just stay in my pajamas. It's just all the crap that you have to put up with in a corporate setting. You have to put up with people who are just constantly coming to your office with chatter, with gossip. Not, hey, can you help me out with this report? Can you help me out with this update? Or can you help me out with getting the team to develop this or that? It's, hey, did you hear about this person? Did you hear about that person? It's your manager giving that little knock when you're in the middle of working on something. Now you could be documenting requirements, you could be programming, it doesn't really matter. Managers still love to do this. Give you this little knock on the back of your shoulder. And then studies have shown that it takes a good amount of time to get back into the zone once you escape it. And it's usually not anything pressing. I mean, they can really send a Teams message or whatever messaging software you use, or an email, and maybe at the top of the hour you could have a rule where you check all of your messages. But it's usually something nonsense or something that's not even urgent, and then it might take you 15 or 20 minutes to get back into the zone. Meetings are unescapable, but like I said, we did find out how many of these meetings could have just been emails, and there was a good amount of them. And I don't have a problem with meeting with people, having my camera on, any of that kind of stuff, but there is definitely, hey, he's sitting at his desk, come on over, join this meeting. Like these last minute, unorganized, unplanned meetings, I don't think are necessary. I think you could have a meeting set out. Oh, and the meetings that were planned, even if they were planned in advance, they had no agenda. I mean, have respect for people's time by putting, this meeting is about at least one topic. Like this meeting is about this requirement, or this meeting is about this deadline. It was just like, let's gather and let's catch up. Like, no. Let's have an agenda. Let's have some kind of focus. Let's have some kind of real purpose for each and every meeting that is happening. And another thing with meetings, if you really look at it from a dollars and cents point of view, it's astounding how much money is spent on meetings that don't even need to occur. If you take people's, I know we all had to work more than 40 hours, but even if you take it at what someone makes every hour just based off a 40-hour work week, and you have the 10, 15, 20 people that are in that meeting, I mean, that is a lot of money being spent on a meeting that might not even have an agenda, have a purpose, have a real reason for even occurring. And I think one of the biggest reasons I dislike my job is because I never found anything that really made me feel like alive, like I had a purpose, like I was growing, like I was moving towards something. And I know a lot of that is because my degree was in finance and real estate, and you could say real estate's not a real degree, finance is not a real degree. Fine. I think that it's a lot easier to say that in hindsight as opposed to being 17 years old and having to pick a degree for a job that you're going to work for the rest of your life, basically. I think it's much easier as 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old to say, those are dumb degrees. Okay, at the time they seemed like good degrees. But because I graduated in 2007, I didn't have much time until the great financial crisis really took way and I wasn't able to find a good job in finance or in real estate. So I did move to another city in the state to get any good paying job I could with a major corporation, and that eventually led to me working in IT. Like, that's not what my degree is, but I still went and got a professional certification. I still went and got my master's degree. So 2 bachelor's degree, master's degree, and actually a couple of different professional certifications. So where we are right now isn't a matter of you need to level up, because I have the experience to do the jobs that I've been doing for the past 12 years. Like, literally my last job was my highest paying job that I've ever had. My last job literally was the remote job where I could just roll out of bed and start working. And that's another thing. Maybe I'm a complete crazy person and an alien on this planet, but I worked more remotely because I took it seriously, because I wanted that flexibility so bad. But like I said, other people ruined it for everybody, unfortunately. But I'd roll out of bed and check emails at like 6:30 or whatever, as opposed to maybe not checking emails till I got in at 8. And then you'd go and get your coffee, and then you'd have to small talk with someone so you don't seem like you're not a team player or you're not happy to be around your coworkers or whatever. But you might not actually be able to get real work done until like 8:30. And then you might have a morning meeting at 8:30, and then you're really not getting to work until 9, as opposed to you could start with a warm cup of coffee or tea in your hand by 7 o'clock. And then you could also work later because you don't have to scramble out to try to beat traffic. I mean, there was times when I was working in Miami that I might be able to drive to work in an hour, but sometimes with traffic, it could take like an hour and a half to get home. I mean, that's 2.5 hours that the employer could have meaningful work done. And really, that's the whole day where they can get meaningful work done if they hire the right people, if they approach it like I did. But it doesn't seem like the companies really want that. So those are some of the reasons why I think I never really loved my jobs. But I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Tell me about some stories, tell me some things that you can actually talk about, or just some feelings that you had around your corporate job. Did you get a case of the Sunday scaries every single week? Or did you have a job that you love? Or are you probably more of an outlier where you've had a job for 15, 20 years, you enjoy it, they're paying you right, they're treating you fairly? I'd love to hear that down below too. I'm very happy for you. Like, for real, it's good to hear about stories of people who actually do enjoy their jobs and are treated well. I would like to celebrate some wins instead of taking all these losses searching for a job. And speaking of searching for a job, I applied to over 2,000 jobs this year and treated like a full-time job for 6 months. And that wasn't really working out. So what I'm doing right now is spending the rest of the year trying to build this business. And this business is YouTube, creating content, putting out 5 videos a week, and just to see where we can go. I've already made some pivots over the past couple of months, and currently I'm in a strategy of just talking to you guys about my experience, about what's going on. Hopefully this stuff is relatable. If you think it's relatable, if you enjoy this content, please continue to watch. That's really all I've asked of you. And just watching the content goes a long way, and leaving comments goes a long way, and I really appreciate all you guys who have joined me over just the past week. I'm very, very grateful for you, so thank you. So right now, I have work that I do enjoy. I don't get the Sunday scaries. It's a lot of work coming up with different ideas and getting up and making sure I post 5 days a week, but this work is definitely worth it. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy reading all your comments, having really good conversations down there. And I might have to go back to a job that I don't love in a couple of months, but at least I could say I tried try my level best, try my hardest to do something else, to find work that I don't hate. Talk to you later.